Stripping wax off of baseboards is perhaps one of the most difficult things a cleaner has to do. And that's because of the method used traditionally to take wax off of baseboards. It's a several-step process, obviously because of the length of time that the work is being done and the types of chemicals being used. The first thing you have to do is schedule the time to do it, because nobody else can be around you in the space where you are stripping baseboards because of the chemicals you're using. So scheduling time is the first thing. The second is making sure that you have taped off and protected all the furniture and other sensitive elements in the space that you're working. The third thing is to make sure you've donned your PPE. So you've got your face mask, you've got your breathing apparatus, you've got your safety glasses, you've got your safety boots. You have to make sure there's enough ventilation because there has to be good airflow. It's funny, many of the chemicals that you use suggest that you use them outdoors only, when in fact baseboards are indoors and you got to clean them there. So the amount of ventilation you need is significant and is a critical component of your preparation. And then once all those things are in place, you actually start the work. And the first thing you do is you strip, you spray the stripping chemical onto the baseboards and you let it dwell for whatever recommended time there is. And then you will use some form of manual scraper, which typically is a metal blade or a plastic blade at the end of a long stick, or it could be a doodle bug, but it's some form of manual scraping that you would use to remove the wax that may have built up over time on those baseboards. And once you're done scraping, and that's pretty hard work, once you're done scraping, you'd have to go and wipe it off and then mop the area to make sure that any excess chemical runoff and waste is removed from that space. And once you're done with that, then make sure you take the tape off and complete the job. The biggest issue with doing or cleaning or stripping baseboards the traditional way is the time that it takes. And that time translates into money. So it's a very costly and labor-intensive endeavor. And because you're on your hands and knees, it requires a lot of elbow grease. So it's nothing that anybody really enjoys doing or wants to do, but it's unfortunately one of the things that has to be done if you are to keep your baseboards clean. Another drawback is the types of chemicals that we're using and the toxicity of those chemicals. I mean, really, in order to be truly safe, you need to have one of these guys to make your life easier, but nobody really wants to be wearing a gas mask while they're working. But sadly, the reality of those chemicals is that they're very harsh on your health, but also on the environment. And I think that's the third, is the impact on the environment is one of the other big drawbacks. The high cost and the difficulty of stripping baseboards, unfortunately, it became an activity that got neglected and left behind, and people didn't really want to do it unless they really, really had to. And so Centaur developed a method to address this very real problem that many contract cleaners will face, or even any kind of cleaner will face. And they developed the scrub J. So the scrub J is this unique tool that attaches to a Centaur floor machine, be it a Rabbit 1, a Rabbit 3, or a Stone Chat, and that together with a very effective but low toxic chemical make the job of cleaning baseboards simple and efficient. And the way it's done is a three-step process. The first step is using Trouble Gone, which is this chemical right here. Trouble Gone is a formulation of a chemical that's got a pH of almost neutral, and it has very low toxicity, and it's a viscous material, so it clings on to the baseboards. So this particular chemical is applied to baseboards using a brush or a trigger spray, and because of its viscosity, it clings onto the baseboards. And you leave it on for 15 minutes or so, let it work its magic, and then you follow through with a Rabbit machine with a scrub J attachment, and the scrub J is the baseboard cleaning tool. And you use that tool with the machine to clean the baseboards, applying water liberally. So you're lubricating it and you're rinsing the baseboards at the same time. And once you're done cleaning the baseboards with the scrub J, you come back with a wet vac and you suck up the waste and excess water from the floor, and you're pretty much done. You may come back and wipe particular spots, but for the most part you're done. Well, this is the real beauty of using the Centaur way, is that our tests have shown that we can cut down on time required to clean baseboards by 80 to 90%. And that's not an insignificant number. Imagine that it took 5 cleaners 2.5 days to do a particular area of work, and that might cost you something like $10,000 in labor costs. By using the Rabbit, the Scrub J, and the Trouble Gone, you can do that same work with using only one person and 1 day. That's a significant savings of cost of maybe $2,000 with a huge reduction of $8,000 in that one job. So clearly, there's significant savings to be had from using the tool like a Scrub J and a baseboard cleaner like Trouble Gone.